Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Schwigget Show. Now, on today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at the structure limit and its detection area. So, we'll look at the size, we'll look at the shape, we'll look at the measurements of it, and then after that, we will get into a kind of how does it work, and also how can you kind of manipulate it to make it work for you. And there you have it, folks. That is basically an outline of the detection area for the structure limit. The center column, that is the center point for that detection area. That's what I'll get into later with how does it work. I call it ARC's theory of relativity. It's a little wonky, but it's kind of cool. All right, nonetheless. So what you're looking at, that center column, that is 63 pillars high. The outer columns, those are 30 pillars high, and then it starts to build at a radius to the center point. The outer diameter, the major diameter that I outlined with the pillars and ceiling tiles, that is 33 tiles in every direction, give or take with the angles. Um, and looking at those two, the actually measuring it out, it's a 3 run, 1 rise. So that's 3 over, 1 up, 3 over, 1 up. That is consistent all the way around, and it just outlines the entire major diameter for the detection area. So other than that, going down into the ground, that's another subject. I had quite a bit of trouble doing it with this setup. I can confirm it goes at least 53 downwards. On the outer posts, it'll go about 20 pillars down, and then it starts to make that radius back towards the center. And I can confirm at least, give or take, 53. So it's basically the shape of an egg, um, quite literally. Let's get into how this works. Arc's theory of relativity. So we have our egg. I'm going to call it an egg for now, but we have our detection area. And basically, each structure piece that you build and place in there is going to be its own center point. I'll give a few examples of this, 2 or 3, to kind of drive it home, just to help you guys out, have a better understanding. So if you're doing colossal builds, that you don't get stuck with a max structure limit warning. But nonetheless, so right here, this detection area with that center column at ground level is approximately 6,900 pieces. Um, and that's based off of that center point. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, we'll zoom in here, and I'm going to give you, I think, one of the best examples to understand the Arc's theory of relativity with a vertical example. So there you go. It's right about 6,800. Mind you, that's about 8 floors above the bottom point. So now let's go ahead and start moving our way up, and let's watch what the numbers do. Keep an eye on the structure limit numbers. So as you can see, they start to decrease the higher I go. Some of you may have already figured it out by now, but if not, we'll just keep going up a little bit farther. We'll go up about 3 more levels, and now I can build again. And I can continue to build. I would estimate I could build about 1,000 pieces from here up and not max out the structure limit. And the reason, and just showing you right here that it is still registering those, I put the 2 down and it did register them with the max structure limit below. But to understand that, we need to take a look at the shape of the detection area again. So basically, I think the best example is think about the detection area as an egg. submerged in water about halfway, and the ground being the water in this scenario. And so as you slowly raise it up, which I did 23 levels at that point where I could build again, and I told you it drops 20 into the ground, then starts at radius. So at that point, the radius of the egg or the detection area would start to diminish. And so that major diameter you see would start to shrink. At this point, another example for the Ark's theory of relativity. That pillar right there, we'll just go ahead and use it. It is offset by about 6 towards the main structure limit, but that would actually be its own center point. So basically, the entire shape you see of the detection area, the radius and the height and the diameter would be revolving around that pillar. And so that would bring the edge of 33 just past that main structure in the middle. I'd put it right there. Yeah, obviously can't put it there. I'll just scoot it back a couple more. So that would put it on the far edge. And so that pillar being the center point would, I would estimate, you're probably chopping off a good 2,000 pieces. That center structure is 3,000 pieces almost to the dot. But you have that whole area on that side that there's nothing, no structures over there. And so, yeah, you could build another large structure off to the side and still not go past the structure limit, at least for that area. So it kind of helps explain why when you hit the structure limit, certain areas, the numbers start to jump wildly, and yet you can still build just around the corner. So if you ever had this problem, hopefully this will help you out in circumventing it. Alright, so 2 more things on this video I'm going to point out. So another one, and these are kind of ways to help you in your build. So if you like to do colossal builds, just measure it down a little bit. Now you could do a huge build in the middle, hit your structure limit, but just space it out however you do it and count out at least 33. I'd give it a couple more spaces just to be safe. But it's definitely 33, but nonetheless. And then you could put a new center point, like right there, for example, and then I could build an entire new structure right there. If I didn't have all those foundations on the ground, of course. I could build 2 huge structures, and neither one would detect the other one, so neither one would be interfering with the detection radius or area. And so I think that'll kind of help people. The last thing I'll point out is actually it's a method I've used a lot, and it's the destruct and rebuild. Basically, if you got this one side and you need to put walls all the way down one side of that center structure, but you're at your structure limit. What you can do is back off to the far edge around the 33 mark and start destroying structures in that area enough to allow you to build the wall in the center, then go back and rebuild that area at the 33 edge mark. And since it's offset, mind you, if you don't have too many structures in the immediate area, you can just rebuild everything and go on your way. But nonetheless, that's going to conclude this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope this helps everybody out in one way or another. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.